it's time to make our stage 2 pick'ems for the Budapest Major. Now, our stage 1 pick'ems did not go well, and I would really rather not talk about it, but we only have 36 hours to make our predictions for stage 2, and since it's a holiday in America, I think Valve are going to wait until in the morning to update this, so I'm just going to put Photoshop pictures for these 8 teams if I do decide to pick them, and I have done my research. I've watched almost every match of the Major, and I think I have a pretty good understanding of how these 8 teams are coming into this next stage. So let's just get right into the pick'ems. Now, I'm going to give you 1-3-0 before we play the ad for the video, and that first pick is actually going to be Aurora. Now, the problem is that if we go and look at the opening matches for Saturday morning, you'll see that Aurora actually play M80, and that is a bit of a problem considering M80 is a team who, I'm not going to lie, they've been playing really well. They went 3-0 in the stage 1, and I feel like in a best of 1, they could get the better of Aurora, so I am still going to lean towards putting Aurora in 3-0, but they have to win that first one because it's going to be a tough game in my opinion, but I could be wrong. I guess we'll see. Skins Monkey is a trade bot that allows you to take some of the older skins that you might not be using anymore, things you forgot about, and trade them in for something a little bit fresh that you can use to impress your teammates. And it's really easy to do this. All you're going to do is sign in through Steam, click those skins that you don't want to use, grab the one that you do, and then after that click trade. Trades happen almost immediately, and if you don't end up using all the balance for the item that you want, don't worry, it'll stay on the site for any future trades that you decide to do. And right now, if you actually click my link in the description, you'll get a 35% deposit bonus, and that's good for up to $100. So if you deposit $100 on the site, you would have $135, but that's only if you use my link. So huge thank you to Skins Monkey for sponsoring this video, and let's get back into it. Now, the real problem with pick'ems is that when it comes to picking the 3-0s and the 0-3s, if the team loses or wins a best of 1, it completely changes everything, right? Because now, like, let's say Aurora lose their opening best of 1 to M80. Well, now they would be in the 3-1, which means that they take a spot from here and the 3-0, so it's brutal to pick wrong. So what we're going to do is we're going to run a simulation. Now, for our last picks, I think that we should have a look at this. In case you want the site, it's linked right here, majors.im. You can use this. It's exactly how it's seeded for every event. Now, we're going to look at all the opening matches and try to pick what we think is going to happen, because I think this is the easiest way to go. Again, M80 versus Aurora. We're going to pick Aurora, but that's just because there are 3-0. And Navi versus FlyQuest. I do think that FlyQuest is playing good, but I'm going to keep it towards Navi. Then we have our Liquid versus Bait game. I think Liquid should be okay to beat Bait. 3D Max versus Fnatic. Has 3D Max been looking good recently? Let's have a check on their recent matches. Well, no, they haven't been. They have actually, they're on a little bit of a loss streak. 1-2 to Lin Vision, 0-2 to G2. You know what? Believe it or not, I'm actually going to say Fnatic with an upset here versus 3D Max in the best of 1. Astralis and IP. I think that that's probably a fair pick for Astralis. Tai Lu versus Paravision. Tai Lu played pretty good in the Blast Hong Kong event against Vitality specifically, and I think that when it comes to a best of 1 versus Paravision, James' playstyle is annoying to play against, but I think Tai Lu has a good enough understanding to be able to counter that. But maybe that's just my bias towards this team, so I would say Tai Lu gets them. MIBR versus Imperial. This is an impossible match. Like, I've always said this, even on my stream, but when it comes to the Brazilian versus Brazilian matches, you can never tell because they're always playing each other in events. But wait, hold on. The last time they played each other was... Okay, so this is from 2024. So the last time they played, it was a best of 5. It was 2 months ago, and it went all 5 maps. You see, that's the problem. Even though MIBR won 5 maps, and that's somewhat recently, so this is impossible to predict, but I am going to pick MIBR. I think they're the better team. They should win in the major, but if I get that wrong, then oh well. And then we have FaZe versus Passion. Now, FaZe has looked really bad this event, and I'm sure you already saw the videos that I've been making, as well as if you've been watching the stream on YouTube, you might have seen that I've been very... I've just been watching all their games, and I've been very disappointed in the way that they've been playing. I mean, one round and actually 0.05 seconds away from being eliminated to Red Canids, like best of 1 to Passion, I think they lose it. I think Passion is a pretty good team. A lot of people have been writing them off. I actually see people are picking Passion for their 0-3 on Twitter, and I just don't see how you could do that because they're looking at their most recent results. But if you look at the week before that, when they 2-1 Mongols and then played Falcons in a really close best of 3, like, even though they didn't win a map, but look at how close that was. And that's the same Falcons that played the final versus Furia and looked really scary. So I do think that Passion is a pretty decent pick to win this best of 1. After that, we have, these are all hypotheticals, but this is how you have to do your pick'ems, right? So this is what we got. Aurora beats Fnatic, Na'Vi beats Passion. I think, even though that is a best of one, I still think they'll win. Liquid versus MIBR. This is a tough one because I think that Liquid has looked pretty shaky. Let's pull up the Liquid history here just to see how their form is coming into this event. They have actually looked pretty rough, but they have lost a series to Saw, series to 3D Max, series to Aurora. That's all fine, but they lost a map to Legacy, map to BB. 2-0 versus FlyQuest is pretty solid, and then that's pretty much it. That series to 9, a map to 9. You know, I do think that the upset's possible here, but let's just slide them over. I think we'll pick Liquid just because. Astralis versus Tyloo in a best of one. Could be a Tyloo victory. It could be a Tyloo victory. Let's have a look at Astralis's recent form as well, just so that we can kind of compare. You know what? I don't think so. I think Astralis win. 3D Max versus FaZe, best of one. I think FaZe wins. They have a good history, track record against 3D Max, and I don't think that this is a team that FaZe is going to be too afraid against. And in a best of one, I feel like they should just have an advantage, at least map pool wise. Then again, the last time they played, I just pulled it up. The last time they played, they got destroyed. So yeah, guys, is FaZe the 0-3 pick? I actually think 3D Max might win that. No, I'll stick to my gut because I can't have FaZe as the 0-3 pick. That's not possible. No, because they won't go 0-3. Okay, so 3D Max beats FaZe most likely. M80 beat Imperial. FlyQuest would be Paravision, and I think that NIP would beat Bait. Okay, then we would have this: Aurora qualify, Na'Vi qualify. Then Fnatic, oh my god, stop pulling up that menu. Then Fnatic would beat Na'Vi. What am I saying? Fnatic would beat NIP. Yes. Tyloo would probably beat 3D Max in a best of one. FlyQuest beats MIBR, maybe. This is too cooked. This part doesn't really matter. What matters now is our 3-0s and our 0-3s. Passion M80, probably Passion. Bait FaZe in a best of 3. Ooh. Do I really put FaZe is my 0-3? No shot, right? No, they don't go out like that. And then Paravision beats Imperial. Okay, that's all I need to know. That's all I want to know, because now we can just for fun run the simulation. Astralis versus Liquid 2019 match. Passion versus Tyloo is probably a Passion Tyloo victory. Let's say Liquid make it. FlyQuest would beat Fnatic. Paravision would probably beat 3D Max. M80 versus FaZe, M80 would win. And MIBR would be NIP. Our last round match, Astralis M80. I actually think that M80 has a chance. Let's pick Astralis, though. Passion versus Paravision, and then MIBR Fnatic. I'll pick MIBR. So this is what we have as our pick'ems. We have Na'Vi and Aurora going 3-0. So let's just update this. This is our simulated pick'ems. This is the best way that we could possibly go about it. So we have Na'Vi 3-0. We have, what is this? A Liquid advancing. We have Tyloo advancing. Astralis advancing. Passion advancing. MIBR advancing. And then FlyQuest advancing. We'll pretend they're there. And our 0-3s, we have Bait and Imperial. Yeah, now we're just gonna go ahead and lock those picks when it's time. And realistically speaking, even though we just ran that simulation, we all know what's gonna happen. And when it really comes down to time, those are just the picks that I think are most likely to happen. But I'm just gonna be honest with you. When it's time to do these pick'ems, I'm just clicking randomize. I'm not joking. I am just gonna randomize, and I bet that I'll have a better chance than with this. Because even though this is what should happen, in my opinion, the format here, this is not perfect. If these matches don't come up the way they come up, I still do think that it's very likely that these teams are advancing. I don't think FaZe is going to make it through. I think Fnatic has a chance. I think M80 has a chance, but I will say I don't see FaZe making it through. So I think these are pretty safe picks regardless. But like I said, I'm probably just going to randomize because I've given up on pick'ems at this point. We looked at their history. We looked at everything. Let's just see what happens when it comes time for the best of ones. Hope you guys enjoyed pick'ems. And if you guys wouldn't mind, check out the other videos that we've been doing on the channel, demo reviews, as well as I've been streaming on the channel as well. So I'd love to see you guys stop by, but if not, that's okay. Hope you guys enjoyed anyway, and much love as always.